far. Daenerys has come extremely far. She came from the Dothraki grasslands, conquered that bitch, went to Karth. Now she's at Slaver's Bay. She took over like 2 cities last season. She just came from Yunkai. She has a army of Unsullied, of 8,000 Unsullied at her back, not to mention the Second Sons, which is a paid mercenary group at her back as well. And so, yeah, she is marching towards Meereen to take over this bitch and free all the slaves. And Daenerys has a personal vendetta against slavery, and so she has decided to go to Slaver's Bay, take over all of Slaver's Bay eventually, and just break all the professional slaving business. If you want to go buy a legit slave, you go to Yunkai or Meereen. They have bed slaves. They have the Unsullied. You can buy a slave army. She's taking over Meereen because she wants to, A, learn how to take over places. She's practicing for Westeros. And she also just finds slavery distasteful.
So what happens?
So she shows up at Meereen. If you remember, Meereen has their little champion come out, and he pisses in front of him and acts like a dick. And so you have Daario Naharis, who takes care of that guy in short order. And then she ends up just like taking that bitch over, you know, with some guerrilla warfare shit. She gets all the slaves to have a revolt inside the walls and gets in there with her Unsullied, takes over, and then she's like, well, you know, I could leave and maybe go to Westeros because they took their navy and they have enough ships to go to Westeros at this point. But she decides to stay in Meereen because she feels like she is now pretty good at like taking over cities. Like she's a pretty good conqueror, but she doesn't know much about ruling. All right. So now she wants to kind of try her hand and learn how to rule a people, so she is prepared for that sort of business when she does decide to go to Westeros.
I will not sail for Westeros.
What then?
I will do what queens do. I will rule.
So then what happens?
Well, she's in Meereen and she decides to rule. So that's what kind of happens. She just starts ruling and starts seeing how difficult it is and how many gray areas there are. She's encountering a lot of stuff that I don't think she ever really anticipated. Some of those things being slaves coming back to her and saying, I want to be a slave. Like, I'd rather be a slave. Like, please let me go be a slave. And she's like, what? Like, she didn't even think about that shit.
Why would they want to be slaves still?
Well, this one guy, he was like an older guy and he was a tutor. He had like a cushy slave job where he like got to tutor children, and now he has no job and he doesn't get to tutor children, and he lives in the fucking streets and he hates it. And he was like, I had a way better gig. Can I just have that back? Another big problem for Daenerys, besides having to learn how to rule, is her dragons are kind of getting out of hand, all right? Especially Drogon, the big black one, the Black Shadow.
What's he doing?
In addition to all the sheep that they're stealing all over the countryside, Drogon may have killed a child and eaten it. So Daenerys is really bummed on that. That is like such a bummer. And so I find it really ironic though that this season she's like, I'm the breaker of chains, you know, I want to free slaves and all this stuff. But then she has these dragons, which you can't get much more fucking free than a dragon. And by the end of it, she's enslaving them and putting chains on them. You know, it's just like how the tables have turned for her. It's very topsy-turvy. And on top of Daenerys having to deal with having, you know, hundreds of people every day coming to talk to her and complain to her about their fucking problems, you know, which I don't know why she can't get somebody else to do some of the lower level ones, you know, like the sheep herder guys, but whatever.
Can your little birds find their way into Meereen?
Most certainly, my Lord Hound.
On top of all that, she also finds out that she has been betrayed by Jorah Mormont.
What happens?
So if you remember in season 1, Jorah Mormont was originally spying on Daenerys in order to get a pardon from Robert Baratheon so he could come back to Westeros because he had been exiled for selling slaves to help pay for his wife's you know, things that she wanted because she was kind of like a gold digger. He ends up becoming inspired by Daenerys and like starts following her for real and does not spy on her anymore, does not take his pardon, does not go back to Westeros, and he stays with her as an advisor because he falls in love with her and also because he thinks that she's a true ruler and he can actually help someone who deserves to be on a throne. So, you got crafty old Tywin Lannister on the other side of the sea, and he hears that she's got Jorah Mormont and Barristan Selmy advising her, okay? So he wants to put a wedge between them. So what he does is he gets Robert Baratheon's royal pardon that was meant for Jorah Mormont, sends it over across the sea gives it to Barristan Selmy, because he knows that Barristan is going to tell Daenerys, and that Daenerys is going to boot fucking Jorah out, and then she will have one less advisor on her team. And that's some pretty sneaky shit. And it totally works. It totally works.
You have until dusk to collect your things and leave this city. If you're found in Marine past break of day, I'll have your head thrown into slavery.
She ends up seeing this and is like, whoa, wait a minute. I was pregnant and you betrayed me. Fuck you, get out.
So what's gonna happen with Daenerys in the next season 5?
So this is something that I'm kind of not looking forward to, is Daenerys' story in season 5.
Why?
I didn't really enjoy it in the books because it is one of those things where she just really is learning how to rule, and watching someone do that is like so frustrating, and she's just in the wrong place. I just feel like she needs to get the fuck out of Marine, and she should have just sailed to Westeros, all right? But she didn't, and I understand her reasoning, and she doesn't have bad reasons, but at the same time, it's just like, you're forcing your Western ideas on this Eastern place that has had these traditions for thousands of years. Like, you're not going to change this place in a day. It's going to take generations to change this place. And do you really want to spend that much time here? Get out, go to Westeros where they really need you, okay? They don't need your ass in Marine. And finally, let's move over back to King's Landing, back in Westeros. I feel like King's Landing has the best, most interesting storylines last season. I was really excited about them.
Oh, tell me about it.
A lot of Lannister family drama.
Oh, what happened? Tell me.
So the War of the Five Kings is over. Jaime Lannister has gone back to King's Landing with Brienne's help. He's there now. You have Tywin there. Obviously, you have Joffrey, Tommen, Marcella's still in Dorne. You have Cersei there, and Tyrion. Now, Tywin has taken Tyrion's hand to the king position. Tyrion's kind of like struggling with where he fits in all this now, and he's been kind of having a hard time. He's been forced to be married to Sansa. He has not forced himself on her. She is still a virgin because he's a gentleman. Shay is being a fucking crazy bitch. All right, I don't know about Shay in this fucking show. The whole season 4 starts off with Joffrey's wedding to Margaery Tyrell. It is also known as the Purple Wedding. And this is where you have Joffrey being poisoned. Oh my gosh, he was poisoned. Yeah, that was great. That was very satisfying. And after the Purple Wedding, you have this whodunit going on of who is the one who poisoned Joffrey. You know it's not Tyrion. You know Sansa's too stupid to do something like that.
Queen Regent is rather distracted at the moment.
Accusing her brother of his murder, which he didn't commit.
Well, he could have done.
I could have done, but he didn't.
You don't know, Grandmother.
But I do know. You don't think I'd let you marry that beast, do you?
And you find out that it was Lady Olenna Tyrell, Marjorie's grandmother, who must be in bed with Peter Baelish.
Oh, it was her? Why did she do it?
Well, A, she doesn't want to see her granddaughter married to a little monster, okay? B, she's doing the whole realm a favor, because that kid's going to be a terrible king. He's already been a terrible king. He's been at it for, like, what, a couple years?
Every time I use it, it'll be like cutting off Ned Stark's head all over again.
So, and also, you know, I'm sure she's got designs with Peter Baelish also. Peter Baelish is kind of her backup plan, because if the Lannisters fall through, who they're trying to align with, she's got this guy over here to keep them in power, because they're making a power grab. The Tyrells are trying to get the throne, all right? They're doing what the Lannisters were doing, like a generation ago. Also, it's kind of might be a revenge play because, you know, Tywin had a hand in the Red Wedding, which was very distasteful to everyone, okay? Like, you do not kill someone after you bread and salt them or whatever, okay? That's just, like, super bad fucking rules. So, she's kind of getting back at them for that. And Lady Olenna ends up telling Marjorie, so Marjorie knows who it was. Like, she knows that it was not Tyrion. And Cersei is going around telling everyone that it was Tyrion. She has him arrested, and he is in the black cells, and he's waiting for this trial. He knows it's a farce, you know? It's, like, so frustrating.
Any other witnesses, my lord?
Varys could vouch for me if he dared.
He's already been called as a witness for the Queen.
Of course. Fetch Bronn. I have a job for him.
I've already asked, my lord. They won't let him see you.
Why not?
They say he's a known cutthroat.
So now Tyrion's imprisoned, and it's such a tragedy because, as you've seen throughout the whole show, all he's ever done is, like, try to do the right thing. You know, he's, like, saved King's Landing, essentially. And nobody gives a shit, you know, just because he's a dwarf. People, like, treat him like he's an asshole, you know? It's totally crazy. And it also sucks for him because, you know, he's trying to have some witnesses on his side, but, like, you know, Cersei and Tywin, they have way more pull than he does, okay? Like, and everyone is, like, too scared to help him out. And even Podrick Payne, he's like, Podrick says that somebody came to him and wants him to testify against Tyrion. And Tyrion's like, no, you have to testify against me because if you don't, they're gonna kill you. You know, it's like if you don't, like, they're trying to ply you with titles now, but if you keep refusing, they're gonna end up slitting your throat, you know? So the situation we have is everyone is going to testify against Tyrion, whether they believe he did it or not.
After we received word of Robb Stark's death, he didn't seem gladdened by the news. Perhaps his marriage to Sansa Stark had made him more sympathetic to the Northern cause.
Why are they testifying against him?
Okay, well, some people are testifying against him because they fucking hate him and they just want to see him die. And then other people are testifying against him, even though they know he didn't do it, because they know that if they don't testify against Tyrion, like, they will be punished later on in some way by Cersei. You want to be on her good side, okay? You do not want to be on her bad side. And she's got power. Tyrion has no power, okay? And she has the power. So they're trying to save their own skins, put the blame on him, keep their heads down so they don't get dragged into this mess. Because everybody knows that all Cersei wants in the whole world is fucking Tyrion's head. And no one wants to get in the way of that.
I will not have you dying on my behalf. Do you hear me? If I have to take that long walk to the executioner's block, I don't want to see your head already mounted.
My lord.
Pod, I am giving you an order.
So Tyrion realizes that there's just no way he's going to get through this. He is really stressing out about it. He even sends Podrick Payne away because he knows that they're going to mess him up if he does not testify against him, and he knows that Podrick is not going to be able to testify against him because he's a good guy. So he has Jaime figure out a way to get him out of the city, which is to pair him off with Brienne of Tarth and to go find the Stark girls if they can. So there's that whole situation going on. So anyways, during the trial, Jaime comes up to him and says, hey, look, I talked to Dad. I got him to where he's not going to kill you. He's going to let you take the black, but you just have to shut up, let everyone talk shit to you, get through it, put your head down, and then ask for mercy, and then he'll let you go to the wall, okay? And Jaime has done this. He's made this deal with the devil, all right? He told Tywin, he's like, hey, if you don't kill Tyrion, I'll quit being in the Kingsguard. I'll be your son and heir. I will go to Casterly Rock. I will marry some bitch. I will have children that will carry on the Lannister name. Just don't kill Tyrion. So Tywin's like, sure, why not? So during the trial, Tyrion's like, all right, I'm gonna try to keep my head down. But then the last witness is called, which is Shae. Surprise, surprise, okay? Because Shae, you thought she had been shipped off back to Braavos or some free city or something, whatever. But in fact, she had not ever left King's Landing, and that she has betrayed him, ultimate betrayal, and testifies against him, mocks him, humiliates him, makes him look like a fucking asshole in front of everyone. Everyone's laughing at him, and that's just too much for him to take. Like, he's just over it.
I will not give my life for Joffrey's murder, and I know I'll get no justice here, so I will let the gods decide my fate. I demand a trial by combat.
He's just like, you know what? Fuck this, you know, like, I'm not gonna take the black. I demand a trial by combat. I wish all you fucking people were dead, you know. He gives everyone a piece of his mind. It was really gratifying to watch him do that. And so, anyways, so Jaime comes to him after the trial and is like, what did you do? And Tyrion's like, well, you know, I fucked up Father's plan. Everything would have been too perfect for him. You would have been back at Casterly Rock. I would have been on the wall. Like, I'm not gonna let that happen. I want to fuck up my dad's shit a little bit. So he did. Threw a wrench in Tywin's fucking ultimate plan and demands the trial by combat. But then he learns that Jaime can't defend him because Jaime can't fucking fight with his left hand, all right? He's learning with Bronn, but it's like not going so great, all right? He is not going to be able to kick anybody's ass for him. So then he asked Bronn. He's like, hey, Bronn, can you be my fucking dude in trial by combat? Because you did it before and you're so good. But Bronn can't do it because he's been paid off, all right? Because Bronn is a sellsword. At the end of the day, he will do whatever the highest bidder tells him to do. And he has essentially been given a lordship. He's been married off to a highborn lady, even though she's like kind of stupid and was impregnated during, after being raped, like gang raped by people in Flea Bottom. From like season 2 or something. I can't remember which season it was, but yeah. So Bronn's like, hey, no hard feelings. I think you're a cool guy. I like you. I hope to see you come out of this, but I can't like ruin my whole future for you because of friendship.
I like you. Pampered little shit that you are. I just like myself more.
I understand.
So they have this kind of touching farewell. And in the books, it was kind of like a lot more cynical. And I liked how they did it in the show, where Bronn just kind of was like, hey, like, let's be real about it. And Tyrion kind of understood where he was coming from. So I thought that was a nice deal. But then, finally, you have Oberyn Martell, my sweet Dornish muffin. He comes up to him and he says, hey, I hear your sister is going to have the Mountain be her champion for this trial by combat. And guess what? I want to fucking kill the Mountain, okay? I've been waiting for my chance to fucking get my hands on this guy because the Mountain killed Oberyn's sister during Robert's Rebellion. He ended up raping Aaliyah, killing her babies, and then cutting her in half with like a great sword. So he's got some bad blood there.
And may the warrior guide the hand of our champion.
Don't leave me alone in this world.
Never.
So now we go to the trial by combat, and you have Oberyn versus the Mountain. And it's really sad. I mean, I knew it was coming. I've read the books. I knew it was coming, but it still shocked me. I was still super sad because fucking he had him. Oberyn had him, and you don't. Oh, it was so frustrating.
He got his tomato smushed.
He got his tomato smushed, and it was really sad and hard to watch because Oberyn Martell was definitely my favorite from last season by far. Like, he is so hot and awesome and badass and cool. I can't even stand it. And you just see his head smushed like that, and Illyria's sand, and I really like that fan cut that somebody came out with like how it should have ended, where it shows Oberyn killing the Mountain and then everybody like high-fiving and shit. It was like so much better.
Kill her!
Little thing about the Mountain got fucked up because he got stabbed a couple times, and on Oberyn's spears was like manticore poison and shit because he's really into poisons and stuff, And so the Mountain's like, he's such a big guy that he's still alive, which it's a miracle he's still alive at all, okay? But he's still going. But then Qyburn, that fucked up maester, who's like not a maester anymore because they were like, he's like a Frankenstein motherfucker. Cersei has him working on the Mountain, trying to get him to not die from the poison and to live. And Qyburn's like, well, he's going to be changed by this. And she's like, well, will he be weaker? And Qyburn's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. And she's like, it doesn't matter. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens with the Mountain next season, if we see any weirdness going on there, any Frankenstein mountains happening.
Oh, get on with it, you son of a whore. What are you doing?
What do you think I'm doing?
The galley's waiting in the bay bound for the Free City.
So, Tyrion is awaiting his death. He's awaiting his death. And while he's awaiting this, Jaime devises a plan with Varys to get him out of King's Landing, to save him. So they come in the middle of the night and they spirit him away. So Tyrion has the opportunity to just get the fuck out of Dodge. But instead, he decides to use the tunnels. He goes to the Tower of the Hand to confront his father. Because he's really got to get this off his chest. Because if he doesn't, it's just going to be gnawing at him for the rest of his life. And this might be the last time he ever gets to see Tywin. So he really wants to be like, yo, fuck you. So he goes up to the Tower of the Hand. He's looking around. He looks in the bed. And who's there but Shay, that two-timing whore. And he strangles her to death, which the one thing that was kind of cool in the books rather than the show is the Hand of the King wears a necklace made of hands, not a pin, and she's wearing that necklace, and he strangles her with it, which was way more impactful. But I digress. He kills her, he takes the crossbow, he finds his dad taking shit in the privy, And he confronts him there, and his dad's like, can we just go like into my study? Can we just go into my study? And he's like, no, we're doing this right here. And so they have a little conversation. Obviously it doesn't go well for Tywin.
Go back to my chambers and speak with some dignity.
I can't go back there. She's in there.
Are you afraid of a dead horse?
Tyrion ends up putting 2 bolts through him, killing him essentially while he's taking a shit. So that is where Tywin will be found. And that will be so embarrassing for him. Like that is the last thing. That's the last place that Tywin Lannister wants to be fucking found. Dead. You know, is that his little son killed him while he was taking a shit on the toilet. Like, what a comical deal, you know? Like, that's so insulting. Like, that's such a fucking... His legacy is just gonna be ruined because of this. So after Tyrion kills his father, him and Varys the Spider, they go back into the tunnels, and Varys puts him in a box and puts him on a ship inside said box. And Varys looks back at King's Landing where they're at the docks, and he sees that, you know, he's probably gonna get blamed for this, or someone's gonna know he was involved in some way, and he decides to leave King's Landing with Tyrion. He gets on board the ship, and they are headed to Essos. And in season 5, I expect Tyrion to probably be bumping into Daenerys. In the books, he is trying to get to her, but he has not gotten to her yet in the books, so... but I'm sure they're gonna speed that along and just make that happen next season. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. So in next season, season 5, what I believe is going to happen is that Varys and Tyrion are going to make their way to Meereen, where they will try to meet up with Daenerys and offer their services to her. Now, in the books, like I said, Varys is not with Tyrion. Tyrion is on his way to Meereen. He's trying to set up a deal with Daenerys, but they have not met in the books yet. So it'll be interesting to see, because it's something that I've been really looking forward to in the books. So I'm sure it'll be interesting in the show. I hope that Daenerys is cool and that they become super buddies, because, you know, he would be an awesome advisor. And he knows everything that's going on in King's Landing. I mean, like, he would spill all the secrets to her. She would, like, it's just gonna be great. So I'm looking forward to that.
Do you think Tyrion will get to ride a dragon?
That would be rad. You know, I've talked about this before, is that there's supposed to be 3 heads of the dragon. Originally, when the Targaryens took over Westeros, there was, you know, main dude and then his 2 sisters. And so, you know, a lot of people have speculated that there's 3 dragons. There's going to be 3 people who have Targaryen blood that are going to ride these dragons into Westeros and take over with Daenerys. And, you know, Tyrion has been, you know, people do theorize that he might be one of those heads of the dragon. So that would be pretty dope if Tyrion got to fly over Westeros and just fucking burn King's Land, burn his sister to the ground, you know? That'd be fantastic. The other dragon might be Jon Snow. Also, just putting that in there. But who knows? It might be somebody else. There's a character in the books that has not been cast for the show who also could be, you know, part Targaryen. Nobody knows yet. I'm not gonna say any names. Don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But he's not gonna be in the season, and he should be in the season, but he's not. So I also want to invite you to subscribe to my channel. It's free. You'll see when I have a new friggin' video coming up. It's awesome. And also, I suggest checking out our Epic History X-Men Volume 1. If you enjoyed our Epic Histories for Game of Thrones, you may enjoy this. It's the same format, except even better. We've perfected it. And instead of talking about Game of Thrones, we're talking about the X-Men. And there's a lot to talk about with the X-Men, trust me. So check it out on Vimeo On Demand, on sale now. Also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all your Comic Book Girl 19 updates. That's where we post our videos. We also post things like if we're gonna be somewhere or whatever. It's all sorts of news and updates on there.